talk like that. I feel like men are just like intoxicated by porn and they just don't understand women at all these days.
So there's a lot of men who have been given platforms these days and they haven't had a lot of sex. And I think a lot of them make like asinine statements like that. So I agree with you for sure. Most of those men would settle for probably not like the more popular ones like Fresh and Fit or Kevin Samuels, but like the regular guys that are saying these messages, they would settle with anybody that was reading. And I do think there's evidence to show that people might prefer that, but I don't think that means that they wouldn't get informed bonds and relationships with people that don't meet those groups. So if somebody had the options, they might choose that, but in a real world scenario, they may not have all of those options. So they may just choose someone that's more close to that.
Yeah, watch the comments on Hassan Abi. He gave them all permisos.
Yeah.
They're like, hey man, I went to travel. I've been traveling around casting ballots 10 counties.
You're right.
I cast 3 today, like 3-pointers.
Yeah, can I get a word from Steven?
They're in the back rooms just fucking throwing those freaking ballots in again.
He was all like, it doesn't count because the witnesses were not good. So if I can get your witness, then I can tell him to shut the hell up for life, you know?
And this just has to do with, do men prefer younger partners, or what specifically are you asking, I guess, here?
I'm saying the weird...
I'm not supporting other men's kids. I'm going to support my own.
It does not make any sense, and it's completely harmful to women to hear. Like, how,
yeah, I agree. Most of the red pill shit is... It's like sex advice that's coming from celebrities, and it really only works like for celebrities.
For rich people who have to worry about paying their fucking next month's rent.
They want something to show for all their wealth because they haven't valued family, so they're lonely and they're trying to fill the void with Instagram models. Like, this is not real life. So as like a 20, it's really affecting my older siblings as well, particularly. She's just come out of a really long-term relationship with their boyfriend and they're trying to date and stuff. And this stuff is really...
Because the boyfriend moved on to the younger women, so the boyfriends can go make babies with more women. For more babies from your boyfriend. Don't you get it? Don't you get what's happening? Take your babies and speak of yourselves!
I have a lot of Muslims in my university. Like, it's always a debate on this red pill bullshit, and it's like, the women are scared. They're just like, what do you mean we're like washed out by 25? Like, for me, I'm still a virgin at 22 because I'm waiting to a marriage. It's just like, dude, I'm running out of time. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. It's not this abstract.
If I had to guess, I think the issue is that socially we've gotten a lot of information about what it means to be a strong woman and what.
Yeah, I'm not going to support another man's kids. 47 years, they don't get it. And there are millions of men that feel the way, and we're just putting our fucking burdens down. I don't like using the word we. Jeff, my AA says if you use I too much, you're like, that's a sign you're alcoholic. If you say I, we should use we. But I don't have anybody here, so when you use the word we, you're implying that you have consensus. So who's this we you refer to? I can only say my opinion. And yeah. No. There needs to be justice. There needs to be justice for people. Equality. If you can't freaking obey the moral culture that you came to, we aren't a fucking mud shit village where freaking nobody cares about the legitimacy. All they do is fucking eat. We're civilization builders. I'm not supposed to have children because we have to keep. I can't have children. No, see, that's the thing. Her children would inherit. If I take a used fucking woman with kids, those children inherit things that are meant for my progeny, for the continuation of my line. I am concerned with my legacy. You have taken and stolen and ridden it and lied about it too much. You take care of your own kids, Herschel Walker.
Woman work, they're going to want to like settle down and have a child. But today, a woman can get a really well-paying career. She can travel the world. She's got a whole bunch more.
I went the free route today. I wanted to see the difference between the Hilton's just standard internet and the one that's $4.95 a day that says, oh, this is for video streaming. And the $4.95 wasn't that good. For everything like slowed down and for so I'm like, but you know what? Sometimes it's like, what if I'm just paying for the sometimes people just feel better paying more. They feel like they got a better like it's more. So I tried it. It's crap.
They are a lot more common for sure, but traditionally, this says 41% of mothers. So I still think even today, even as those are changing, still generally the people have been growing up with
divorce,
with fathers being the primary breadwinners in the households.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's so bullshit. Okay, fine.
That's like the facts. That's the truth. I mean, what do you want me to say?
Okay, maybe I'm just poor and everybody's mom is working hard, so I don't know. If you're right. Right. Maybe that's what the data says. Fine. If the data says that, then that's okay. But I just don't think that the whole women who haven't been working, like everybody has a job. Everybody should be working. Like,
yeah, but I think like that's a relatively newish phenomenon, right? Like this is like in the past like 50, 40, 30 years maybe, where it's expected that your households are dual income, right?
But the men right now who are 19, 20, 21, 22 have not been presented with that. That's what I'm saying. With that role.
But not typically,
only in big media, like see movies and stuff. Just you know.
Sure, but I mean, like, it's also not just the. I'm sorry, hold on. It's not just the breadwinning too. I'm not saying that it's just enough to have like a dual income household. But what I'm saying is there are probably behaviors that go from generation to generation on like the types of behaviors that are taught to children, like having the vestiges of these like old institutions there. So, like for instance, I don't know how much. If I had to guess, I'm guessing extremely now, right? Because of how traditional relationships used to be prior, there's a lot of things that mothers do to teach their daughters to get them ready kind of to like be part of a household. But I don't know if fathers teach sons or mothers teach sons things that they have to do to get houses together. Because traditionally that's just not a thing that's taught. And that's probably like a behavior that's carried on from like generation to generation to generation, you might guess. Right? Like, I don't know how often fathers are having conversations with their sons, or mothers are having conversations with their sons about what you need to do to be, like, a good man for a woman.
Maybe. I don't know. I don't have a dad, so.
Well.
Maybe you're right.
Yeah.
You know what?
And that's probably because historically, like, men haven't needed those conversations. So their dads, even if you grew up in a dual income household now, that dad probably didn't have that conversation with his father because you don't need to, because his father didn't have it with his father, and it's going to be like, I'm sure that like I'm sure that Jesus.
Actually, you're right.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah, all the
Hold on, one
all
second.
the fatherless-
But Brandon, why is it that every conversation I have, you like so desperately have to Google for some stat that's like not at all related to? It's like you always feel like you need to have like Google like a stat for 90% of breadwinning mothers are unmarried. What does that have to do with any of the conversation we're having at all right now? You're like the Dune bug of political stats. I'm sorry, Jesus. Okay, sorry.
No,
Go ahead. What were we saying?
Yeah, all I was gonna say is agree with you. So, like the studies on fatherlessness, that's like the biggest issue that I talk about probably the most, and all of it shows that like kids, especially men and girls though, but definitely boys that don't have fathers in the home, they have like less self-control. They have less ability to sacrifice for the future. They're like more likely to do almost anything that's negative. So like, yeah, when you don't have a father in the home, there's a lot of like habits that are taught through convention and not even always through like direct talk, like play and stuff like that, the Jordan Peterson stuff. So like all of that stuff is just like happens if you have a father in the home, and you don't get that when there's not a father in the home, because typically the mother's doing like her different relationship, which isn't the same as how fathers interact with kids. And I mean, once you're raising kids, like you can see that, like I can see the interactions with my kids are just completely different, and we're kind of teaching them different skills and different ways to process information. So yeah, not having fathers definitely leads to that stuff you're talking about.
Yeah.
Basically, the issue is that when it comes to relationships today, men are fucking losers. Historically, they've been able to get away with it because they were the ones that were the only ones who were allowed to work, and now they have to actually put an effort to relationships, and it's a really, really difficult thing because most men have never had to do that historically speaking. They just had to show up to work, earn a job, go home, treat their partners like shit, and be